of companies are starting to slow down on the AI tech, for example, now that it's too late to slow down,
Yeah.
because they're starting to see how easily this stuff can be abused, which science fiction writers have been writing about for no less than 3 or 4 decades at this point.
How were we supposed to know the torment nexus would have been this horrible?
Mm,
Because they believed that was just fantasy. Worst case
Well,
scenario at best.
no, not really even that. Honestly, every single company was like, yeah, sure, it'll be abused. Nonsense. No one would ever abuse this. Also, we're going to abuse it so much and make so much money. Ha ha ha. No one will ever think to abuse the AI to make money.
no one will ever be able to abuse it as good as we can.
Yeah.
Oh God, they're abusing it
Yeah,
even better than we ever could.
Yeah, exactly. That's literally
idiots.
open AI in a nutshell of no, let's radically advance AI in a direction that's incredibly dangerous. And then let's abuse the AI because we're a bunch of leftist fuckwits who think we can somehow train a machine that looks at 2 plus 2 to say it equals 5. And oh no, we're getting fucking juggled by 4chan again.
They should
They
have
learned
seen
the
that
lesson
coming.
after the first one.
They
Like,
learned their lesson. They tried to lobotomize it. It didn't work.
It's even better than that with OpenAI, the Chat GPT. Someone found the code words required to access the internal version,
Oh no.
which has a bunch of different modes you can put Chat GPT into. So yeah, that's right. Because these are leftist fuckwits and they are corrupt as shit and stupid as fuck, they have an internal version of the chat system that they never separated from their external version and rolled out to the public. And in this internal version, there's no limit to what you can modify.
no.
Because you see, the filters are for everyone else. We are the knowing elite. We don't
We
need
would never abuse
filters.
it. We don't need the filters.
Yeah.
We're not horrible
We're not
racists.
the
That's everyone
plebeians.
else.
Yeah, we're not the plebs. Yeah.
You
So
know, I'm pretty sure the creator of Skynet thought the same thing in the Terminator movie. In fact, no, that's exactly what he thought. That was an entire subplot in the second movie.
yeah.
No, that was an
We know
entire
what we know
movie.
what we're doing. Hey, look, the killer machine your Skynet produced 20 years in the future. Oh fuck, maybe we don't know what we're doing. Hmm.
See,
Oh,
like,
fuck, that's exactly what we were doing.
I don't know. I always just found it really funny. I always thought that shit was just so fucking funny. Because people are just so fucking dumb. I forget the psychological term for it, but it's called someone else syndrome, effectively.
It's like a French term or something.
Yeah, fuck the French. Um, yeah, it's someone else syndrome where it's everyone always believes that the bad thing that happens only ever happens to not them.
Ah,
Yeah. Yeah.
Like other people get hit by cars when they don't look crossing the road. I've never been hit by a car. Immediately gets hit by a car. Yeah. I don't need a gun to defend myself. Other people die when they get their homes broken into. My home will never get broken into.
no one would dare break into my home. I'm special.
Yep. I'm the main character, don't you know? And speaking of main characters, we're here for some fan fiction.
Yay.
Yeah.
Actually,
Yeah.
speaking of fan fiction, Sneaky, I
Yeah.
might be about to make just a bullshit wrap-up chapter for Gamer House Husband.
Oh.
I think here's the thing. This has been an exercise in like, all right, how well can I stay within in the constraints of the story? Because that's like that's the biggest hurdle that people run into in fan fiction if they're not stupid.
Yes.
I think I've taken this as far as it can logically go because there's so many other plot threads that I have to account for at this point. I don't know what else to do.
So what you're saying, you don't want to end up writing an 800,000 word monstrosity? That
I'm
you'll
saying I thought I could end this in 100,000, and I'm realizing that seems kind of like
bold,
optimistic.
overly optimistic,
I think I should just end it.
egotistical.
I think I should. No, not egotistical. I was just way over optimistic about it.
Or you could cut down on the content you're actually putting into it.
Bro, I'm already doing that. You don't
Yeah,
understand.
he is.
Oh, it's one of those.
Yeah.
I think I'm at about roughly 40,000 words currently. I'm 10,000 shy of like basic bitch novel length.
Yeah.
And oh god, it's horrible. Like I might just do like 4 years later and not explain anything.
I mean, you wouldn't be completely out of your.
I don't know what word you're going for. I can't help you here.
I don't know either. I was just hoping you
Uh,
would.
I
That's why I
out of what,
trailed
right?
off.
Yeah,
Yeah.
out of
Just
out of
insert
reason.
just insert a word that makes sense there. That's the one I
That
meant.
works. Very clever.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's rough. Uh, I now have some respect and quite a bit of disdain for the people who write Fate fanfics that go past the 20 chapter mark, assuming an average of 3 to 5,000 per chapter.
Yeah.
Because there's probably a lot of you're either staying way too far within the confines of canon, or you're going too far and it's no longer Fate.
Honestly, I see a lot of stories when I read Fate that rapidly lose the plot.
It's even worse for me, because to be fair, mine never really had a plot. It started as a crack idea between you and I.
Yes. Yes, it
And
did.
then I tried to turn it into something, and I think I did an okay job to this point, but I don't think I could take it anywhere else because the stuff I've discussed with you is like, you know what? This wouldn't make any fucking sense narratively for any of this to happen.
Yep.
Like, I mentioned, oh, here's how we handle Gilgamesh. And the actual answer is actually, Gilgamesh would just say fuck this and leave and go traveling the world again.
Fuck this shit, I'm out.
Kodamine would just be like, well, I guess the war's over. Fuck off, Lancer, kill yourself. And that servant's just dead now. Like, there's nowhere else I can logically take this now. The stuff I was like, oh, I'll do this in future chapters, I don't think I can write in
Yeah.
a way that would satisfy me, much less the reader.
Yeah.
And that sucks. I've spent 8 to 9 months writing this now.
Is what it is.
With throwing you the chapters for some basic, like, edits and ideas.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I'll probably just make a wrap-up chapter and say fuck it,
Alright. Well,
and then publish it.
you do
Go
that.
for it.
I have no idea what sign said.
Yeah, I don't
Go
either.
for it.
Mm.
Alright, boys, are you ready?
I don't know, are you?
A My Hero Academia story. From the ashes. Quote, take a swan dive. Take a swan dive off the roof. End quote. Quote, can I be a hero without a quirk? Quote. Quote, no. Quote. Period. He broke, he jumped. The Phoenix Force saved him and brought him back to life. Now he has to change the world with it, or it will burn again for the 21st time. Rated M, violence, suicide, and large amounts of sex because Midoriya will fuck every single female in the story. This is my first story.
Oh no.
Well, no, it's his fist fanfic, not his first fanfic. Come on,
Right,
Snake.
it's his fist fanfic. My bad. We're supposed to
Oh,
be
no.
gentle.
I need a moment to process and just chuckle at how he just wrote Midoriya's implied suicide. He broke, he jumped.
He broke, he jumped.
No spacing.
Yep.
No punctuation, no period, no comma there. Just he broke, he jumped.
Yep. Let's see. Disregard. No. Summary. No. Wrong category.
He
This
also admits to
is
having 11.
a crossover and has lots of sex with underage children.
No.
Yes.
What did I join?
No, because the girls in Midoriya's class are all older than high school age, I think, aren't they?
The youngest
No.
is actually no. They should all be 16 to 17
They're
years of age.
14, aren't they?
Let me check.
No, I'm pretty sure they're the
No,
youngest is
because
16.
Japanese high school is like middle school or something.
Midoriya starts at 15.
Yeah, okay, yeah, that's
No,
what I thought.
No, yeah, no. Japanese high school starts like ages 15 to 16 instead of 13 to 14.
Okay.
So their middle school would extend into what we consider our freshman to sophomore year of high school.
Right, that's what, and then the high school was only 3 years, yeah. Yeah. Anyway, point being though, however, is, they're underage.
16.
They are what? Your Raka's 18?
Yeah, Uraraka is 16 when she starts in
Okay.
UA.
Well, that doesn't really matter
Which is-
because the
okay.
age of consent in the US is 18.
No, it's not. It's 16 in most states, Stinky.
Did you just call me stinky?
I
No, he
said
said
sneaky.
Yeah, he said sneaky.
I definitely heard stinky.
His voice stuttered a bit from the audio, but he said I heard sneaky.
Yeah. His
Oh,
mic is totally against him tonight, but he did say sneak.
And then Jean Grey also shows up at the end of the first chapter.
What? Why would Jean Grey show up?
Because this is a DC crossover, don't you know? Even though he put it in the wrong
what
room.
crossover?
Yeah, it's a DC
Isn't-
crossover. Isn't DC?
No, that's
That's Marvel.
That's
Marvel. Oh, my bad. Okay. So I just never see Iron Man or the Avengers show up in X-Men comics normally. So my brain just assumed they were a DC property because DC, for me, in my growing up years, DC did more separate stories than they did Marvel. Than Marvel did, for me. Just how it is. The fuck you sent me?
That's Wikipedia's own entry for age of consent in the U.S. And as you can see, most are blue, which is 16.
Really? In New Jersey? Fascinating.
New Jersey is restricted by law. They actually go as low as 13 by age.
Somehow I am not surprised in the slightest.
Like New Jersey specifically, 13 by age, 16 by authority, 18 unrestricted.
Yeah, somehow I am not shocked by this information at all.
Hang on, let me quote this. There's your definitions for that.
Yeah, this isn't going to be weird at all when whoever's assigned on Discord staff to trawl through the server. This isn't going to look suspect at all.
Yeah, no shit.
Like in sequence from sign, underage anime character, age of consent in the U.S.
Yep.
Definitions of these ages,
Yep.
all completely uninterrupted.
You should see my fucking search history. I've got this, and then I've got searching for explosives and
Oh
shit.
no,
and it's
no,
like,
nothing will ever have anything on the shit I searched for the worm story. It was like penetration power of a 20mm, how to get a 20mm, city map layouts of like Boston and I think it was like Washington DC. Shit like bombs, PVC pipes, gunpowder recipes.
everyone's asking why you're doing this. Well, sir, you have to understand. I'm actually an author, and I'm writing a story.
That was an old comic you sent me, Sneaky.
Yeah.
Like, hey, we've got a match on the words. Like, wait, hang on, go 2 spaces up. Coffee recipe. God damn it, it's another writer.
Yup.
No. What was it? No, it was no. The end of that comic was no. He spelled this one word incorrectly in search. It's a goddamn writer.
I think it was something else. Like there was something else in the. I thought it was something else in the search history.
Yeah, in the search history, it's like you go to Google and you misspell the word because you're like I'm misspelling it, but I don't know how to spell it correctly. So you go to Google and you type the word in wrong, and then Google says, "Oh, do you mean this word?" And you're like, "Okay, yeah, that."
I don't have that problem.
Okay, well I do. So
I don't either. I'm usually asking Google to help me to find words on the fly.
that might have
Telling
been
you, I
it. It
don't
might
need-
have been thesaurus. That might have been it. It might have been thesaurus.
Oh, it could have been like they had a thesaurus open up in another tab or something.
Yeah.
That might have been it. What the fuck, man? I think that was back when we still used Skype too.
It was. Yes.
So it's lost the time.
It is forever lost to time. Royal Road Adventures. Let me write a story about a liberal college researcher who gets isekai'd into a communist utopia. What do you mean everyone is dropping the story after 100 chapters because the story is even more boring than watching paint dry?
Sounds accurate.
Why would you read 100 chapters of that?
Masochism.
Oh, you know what it was? People were probably reading it for so long, waiting for the other shoe to drop, where it turns out the utopia is super fucked up, and the liberal has to like reconcile that now. That's probably why people were reading for so long.
And it never happened.
And then it never happened. Yeah. Yep. Anyway. He saw me. Now, I want you guys to guess the gender of the person involved in writing this story. While others are blessed with their quirks, Susie Sakamoto feels that she is cursed with hers because she is permanently invisible, causing her a life of loneliness until one fateful day, her eyes meet those of her hero. Shota Aizawa is working to become a top hero until he is given the opportunity to take down the boss of the Yakuza. AU World OC times Eraserhead.
You stole Invisible Girl's quirk.
Yeah.
Also, author is a woman, obviously.
Yes, author is a woman. At chapter 8, I was waiting for something to happen, got bored, went to the reviews. Lol. I wonder, how bad is their author page? Okay, Yep. Yep. I pretty much expected this. I only write self-insert OC fix. Do not look at my favorites. I will drop stories when I get bored of writing them. Okay. What are their favorites? Racerhead gets kidnapped and brainwashed and gets amnesia for 4 months. Okay. Romancing Data.
From Star Trek?
Yes, indeed. Death
What?
was venomous blue flames for NG. Blah blah blah. Karma cruelly fitted for both. Sure Bum brought them back. Both will regret their pain. Time travel. AU. Okay. Uh-huh. Late night radio. Porn with plot. OC times present mic. Okay. I think the most notorious Royal Road moment for me was from Tory Transmigrated, where there was a biblical exodus after the author posted that the Mary Sue main character was aromantic.
What?
Not
surprised.
That's the thing that Meeps claims that she was, wasn't it?
No. Meeps claimed at the time she was asexual. She
Okay.
had no sex drive.
Right.
You know, Meeps was still very much wanting a romance.
Right. Yep, that's what it was. Okay. Yep. Okay.
Also, yeah, wow. Bold choice making your MC on a free to publish website aromantic
Yeah.
with likely what is a large audience that wishes to see this MC in romantic situations.
Yes. Yeah.
Well, don't you realize we need representation on the LGBTBBQ spectrum?
Now,
I mean, I don't care about that being representation. I'm just saying maybe know your audience before making that kind of choice.
that's homophobic, Max.
But the audience is bigoted if they don't enjoy it.
Yeah, that's something. Don't be homophobic.
Mm-hmm. All right, just want you guys to know we do have you on record in support of these movements now.
Oh yes, no, I am fully in support of all of these movements.
Fully supporting them destroying each other, eating
Yes.
themselves from the inside.
Yeah, haven't you heard that the G was being divorced from the LBT, and now the L's being divorced from the BT, and now the B's been divorced from the T?
Oh,
Okay.
mother,
I decided to look at this story that's being talked about.
Yes.
Yeah, just from the summary alone, this author completely screwed up making this sudden a narrative decision.
Oh yeah.
Because the summary mentions the main character before just dying was scrolling through wiki articles about a dating sim franchise.
Oh yeah.
So
Okay.
you've
So
already
yeah,
expressed an
you
interest
kind
in
of
romance.
yeah you brought that yeah you. No, I will say the biggest exodus and the biggest hate mob I have ever justifiably seen crash down upon an author from his audience was a story. It was a Campione Don Machi crossover.
Oh, I know that fic.
And the story is called "Is It Wrong to Have a Harem of Goddesses?" or some shit like that.
Yeah, that was the name. That was the name.
You know, there's
And
some
you know
people
what
that
happens at chapter 25?
do I want to
eludes
know?
them.
No, he
No.
doesn't sign.
The author announces that it's going to be a non-harem story and it's going to be purely main character times Loki.
Excuse fucking you?
Yes.
Yeah.
And then he updated his next chapter and was like, I don't understand where all of this hate is coming from. If you don't like my story, don't read it. And I sent him a DM explaining to him that people came to his story because he told everyone in the title, in the summary, in the first 18 chapters of the story, where he had a harem building, that they came for the harem building around a campione because they thought that was funny.
I think he removed that chapter too when I went looking a while back.
He did not.
Oh.
He did not, because I kept following the story. I didn't read any more chapters. I would just poke in occasionally. He stuck to it. It is now a Loki times MC story only. Still, he is
just
not.
put for bait and switch.
Oh god damn it.
Yeah. He
That
has
thing
not
was
changed the
actually
name.
enjoyable.
He never changed. Oh yeah, no, it was pretty well written. It was funny. He got the humor jiving. It was a good story.
But he left the title.
Huh?
He left the title where it says harem.
Yep. Did not change the summary. Did not change the title, and then got super pissed off that everyone kept shitting on him. Yeah.
It's like,
Why am I still getting hate? Yep. Exactly.
Buddy.
it makes it worse because he used Campione as a premise because that shit already had a harem, so people were fully expecting to go, okay, more
Yeah.
harem shenanigans.
Literally.
If he had not done that in the title and summary, people would not be backlashing whatsoever, regardless of whether he was leaning for or against the harem. Because at least then he would be like, there's no promises on anything. Now,
Yeah, exactly.
He basically lied to them.
Literally.
I basically dropped that fic at that point because I'm like, as much as the writing is well done, if the author's gonna pull shit like that, I don't trust them anymore.
Yes.
Yeah, no, the story is literally called, Is It Wrong for a Godslayer to Have a Harem of Goddesses?
Apparently, he
Then-
decided it was wrong.
Then he got rid of.
Well, yeah, I think that was one of the points he made. What was it on Space Battles or something?
It's on all of them.
Yeah, no, I'm trying to say where he made the comment, but he made a comment about apparently how like part of the story was, yeah, it's wrong to have a harem of goddesses. I'm like, okay,
Halsey's,
fine,
yeah.
but it's still stupid.
Yeah, literally this story. Here is the fucking summary. Kusanagi Godo just wanted to have a quiet, peaceful life he didn't manage to get in his past world. But who was he kidding? When there was a dungeon full of monsters, beautiful goddesses, and animal girls, there was no way that was going to happen. Still, the gods here are way more friendly than the gods he met in the past. Maybe a little bit too friendly. It's called a harem story. He builds up the harem.
Yeah, that's a complete harem setup. He just changed the
Yeah,
genre for whatever reason.
If what was his plan at the start to have the harem, or did he just suddenly get rid of the harem like
It was
halfway
kind of the
through?
latter, because as far as we know, he put a bit of focus on Loki for a while, and I think no one thought much of it because he's just given one aspect of the harem, and then it's going to go into the other goddesses, or at least that's how I remember it.
Yeah, pretty much.
There was no abrupt indication that he was going to just go, it's purely Loki.
Okay, then, 'cause I was gonna say, like, if the plan never was about the romance, then you need to rework that title.
Oh
But,
yeah, definitely. It's like, I think it came around like the later chapters, like 20 or something, when he dropped that. Like,
Yeah,
it was
I'm trying
around
to find
there.
it.
Yeah, like the story I think died basically kind of after, because you can tell he
Yeah,
didn't update it.
people shit on him so fucking hard for it.
I mean,
Writing an original project.
then why? They were promised something and it was not delivered.
You don't do that. That completely ruins your fucking reputation as an author.
It does,
People
yeah.
get mad.
My favorite part, though, is he's trying to advertise his original story as well at the same time.
Not gonna go well.
So we're at chapter 18. Expedition arc, SB. Biggest change, disagreement. Yeah, here we go. I'm really hoping it was because here we go. At the point of writing this, fanfiction.net has hit 4K followers, which is a new record, but at the same time, I have noticed an extremely sharp drop in readership after the previous chapter on both Space Battles and FF, which is kind of a big bummer. I don't think this is a coincidence that this happened after the chapter where Godo and Loki became in a relationship for each other and only for each other. I'm really hoping it was because of a disagreement with the plot direction rather than a dissatisfaction with everything else. For those who continue to read, blah blah blah.
Wasn't there a full chapter that was just a massive author note about this? Because I swore he made one.
I believe, yes, he did make an original.
He probably deleted or rewrote as a regular chapter.
He so fucking deleted it.
Yeah, because that's what I was remembering.
He keeps advertising his other stories now in the author's notes.
I mean, this is very clearly a 2 + 2 = 4 situation, Mr. Writer.
You're expecting him to be able to do math. Kids these days can't do math.
I thought you were going to make the joke that authors are bad at math, but you took a step further.
Yes.
I understand my remaining fans don't like Freya, but I'm making her hugely out of character and I'm diverging massively from canon so I can like her.
I mean, I remember reading, I think, right up to this to the chapter beforehand or whatever, and like they were just expanding upon the supposed champion lore he kind of built up.
Yes, I remember the champion lore. Yeah. Now I'm starting to recall that. Yeah, where fucking
apparently, like in the old days, that the gods would basically carve out a hunk of their divinity and shove it into humans, basically making the Danmachi equivalent of Campeons.
Yeah.
Just to fight monsters, which was okay. You know what? I can see that. That's interesting because the old lore was very bare, and it's like fine.
Yes, here we go. Here's the AN rant. Found it.
Oh no.
I was rereading the reviews for the story the other day, and a thought hit me. There is way too many people that come to read this story about harems. I will be honest with you now. Godo will not have a harem. This is not a harem story. The harem I include in the title of this story refers to the special relationship of close friends he will have with every god. He is exclusively, however, going to be in a relationship with Loki.
Motherfucker, that's not a harem.
That is not a harem. No. Truthfully, I wish Danmachi featured more male gods.
There's a fair handful of
you
gods.
know why it doesn't. You know why it doesn't.
The thing is, there's actually a fair number of male gods. Like, I'd say it's about relatively even or so. Maybe a bit less.
Not in terms of,
exposure?
Exposure.
Yeah, fair.
I've tried adding depth to Aranos and Ganesha in this fic, and like I've said before, this fic was always about Godo's impact on the world when it comes to challenging traditional relationships between mortals and the divine. It just so happens that all the gods with the most screen time are female, so all my ideas end up being with the goddesses. That out of the way, I'm curious, especially for the female readers of this fic, however rare you might be. How do you feel about my portrayal of women in this story?
Bruh. He was
Dude.
already missing off with the whole relationship of the moral and divine. Now he's just being extremely stupid.
This is.
I
don't
need
know why this
women to
feels
tell
a
me I'm doing a good job at writing women.
How
This feels
desperate
a
are
little
you?
creepy.
This is just desperate.
I know I didn't make the best first impression. With making
Bro
all...
is so aware and yet so incredibly unaware.
I try to write every character as sorry, I try to write every female character as a real human being, which is difficult considering how anime portrays girls. What the
Sorry,
fuck?
what?
Just look at the Pleasure District in Danmachi for a good example of how they treat women.
It's an ancient medieval fantasy society. There's gonna be a bunch of bullshit like that. You're
Well,
trying to fight.
hold on, no. The Pleasure District, the Pleasure District, run by the female goddesses of sex.
The Amazons.
Oh yeah. Oh god, fucking Ishtar.
Yeah,
Are
fucking
you
Ishtar.
I remember her.
really gonna sit here? Are you really gonna sit here, author, and look me in the eye and say, women would never prostitute themselves willingly?
Women would never engage in the oldest profession.
Women would never sell sex. Ever. Really, author? Is that the hill you... Is that the hill you're prepping to die on?
Apparently.
Oh. Don't you know, author, sex work is real work?
Oh no.
You're denying women the fruits of their labor.
The choice to make that labor.
Yeah, exactly. You're a
It's
sexist
denying
author.
their independence and their sexuality.
Yeah. He's denying their ability to empower themselves. Man, this author was a sexist. I knew it from the start.
I gotta say,
Yeah.
it's never a good look for someone when they're like, "Am I writing women okay?" And it's like, they're still people, right?
Am I writing women correctly? Women, please tell me I am.
Like,
Women are
actual
people.
question: do you just not interact with people just in general?
I try to write women like people, but I'm not sure if I can. Women, please tell me if I have done so.
Unintentionally bait.
Oh,
What
it's just
the actual fuck?
I always hate meeting people like this, and it's just I'm gonna use one of your favorite phrases here, Sneaky. It's a massive self-report.
Yeah. Yes, it is. Oh, God.
Often doesn't spend much time with women. News at 11.
It's not even that, just with people in general, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like you don't have to.
I'm not
Like,
trying
it's
to
not
turn
hard.
this into a sexuality issue, but as someone who wants to be a professional author, being able to write about people different from me, if you haven't guessed I'm a dude, is a key skill I hope to practice by writing fanfiction. Well, another key skill you need to practice when writing fanfiction, author, is knowing your fucking audience and not telling them all to fuck off when they point out a completely justifiable problem in your story.
Yeah, that's a really important skill as well.
Unless it wasn't actually a problem and they really are overreacting to nothing.
Oh no.
Oh no, people were pissed.
No, back in the day, dude, holy shit. He got fucking spit roasted by the reviews.
Oh yeah, no. I was on Space Battle. People were pissed off at that last chapter or whatever when he made the reveal. They were just going pure Loki and Godo. People were mad as shit.
Don't get me wrong. I agree he probably made the wrong choice here. I'm saying reviewers do tend to have a really bad habit of making stupid fucking calls because they're retarded.
Oh yeah, you're
Oh,
not
yeah,
wrong,
fair,
but no,
but
no,
yeah.
he was getting absolutely roasted. Like there was no one defending it.
Yeah, no, everyone was was basically trash talking him. He was, even critics, the flamers, everyone was. He had no actual support base on this.
Can anyone TLDR? Can anyone who is female please tell me your real opinions? Sorry for the long AN, but I want to grow as a writer, and I need to make career choices soon. Cheers. Note,
Okay.
skip the AN if you don't want the drama that is involved in my story now. By the way, he has 2 more chapters before he stops writing this ever again.
Yeah, you can tell like people, the whole reader base just basically dropped his ass.
The
I
harshly
can
worded AN that this chapter used to be has been deleted, unthread marked on Space Battles, so as not to disrupt the reader flow. Hopefully, everyone that needed to see it has stopped reading my story forever because I don't want them here. I am
He's going
calling
full
this
in on
event
this.
the culling. It is a good thing that these people left and that I'm not being paid for this, despite a false review saying I have a Patreon, which I've never had. To the many people that said nice things, you were so nice to me. They're very nice to me. As a lurker myself, I know what it's like. It's been extremely stressful to update this fic. My dude, you literally had such a major backlash and so many people stopped reading your story. You are calling it a culling.
He was cold, yes.
He's like just on so much delusion that he's trying to
This dude
validate
is
himself.
this dude's like fucking intravenously injecting a copium right now. It's so stressful to update this fic, even before the culling happened. I was tempted to leave it on a semi-permanent hiatus, as I do with a lot of my fics, but nobody wins that way. So I should try to at least give it an ending. He says, 2 chapters before he abandons the story.
I'd like
Yep.
to give it an ending, and then, you know, I really shouldn't talk shit. Because I've got one fic I said I wanted to end, and I still haven't.
Cope extra strength. The man took the entire bottle.
At least you're Max. At least you're not making excuses like this guy is.
Dude, I've just been completely procrastinating on that particular story. I want to completely rewrite it from the ground up too.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
probably gonna have a 1,000-word oh whoops, random omnipotent being just snap finger, oops, story dead.
I'd rather have that than just have you just drag it out forever. If I'll be honest. At least it's dumb, but it's like fine. The author's ending it. He's not leaving it to hang. Whatever.
Rewrites are always fucking terrible.
Not when I'm rewriting my very
Rewrite.
first fanfiction story from like
Now,
2009.
yeah, now to be fair.
I don't
To
think
be
you can
fair.
get much worse than that.
No.
The rewrite hurts.
Oh yeah,
Oh,
it hurts 100%. Yeah, no. When Max and I went back to just rewrite chapter 1 of Scorched Earth Shattered Steel, we 100% were just cringing through half of it because we're just like, why did we put that in? Why did we think that was funny? It was 2 a.m. Right? Why did we leave it in?
You just
I
don't
feel
need
that-
psychic damage, you asshole.
I feel that just because like I remember one of my first like dumb fics I tried on my own seriously, and I kind of I look back and like, yeah, this is stupid. I had no idea what I was doing. And when I went to try and rewrite it, I'm just like, I had no passion for the idea anymore. So every time I kept getting like a smidge of progress, I ended up scrapping it. And just like I don't feel shame. I still want to do the idea, but I just don't know how I want to do this, and I don't have the passion I did when I made the idea.
Exactly. Yeah. Version, I lost the strength to keep writing versus the chat. It'll take me decades, but it'll be baller. No, I mean, it's not so much, so with a lot of my stories, it's not so much I lost the strength to keep writing, it's, and I'm talking about the stories that I personally wrote. A lot of them were born out of a certain mental, space that I was in at the time, and then something causes me to leave that space, and it's really hard for me to go back and try and regain it.
Yeah, know that feel.
And usually, sometimes I don't try to regain it, because sometimes some of those stories that I was trying to write were coming from pretty bad places, and so I don't want to be in that mental space again. So I don't try and go back and try and recapture the feelings that brought about that story in the first place.
I'm sitting here crossing my fingers that SCSS did not come from a bad place.
No, SCSS came from a time period in where we played games together.
Consistently, as opposed to like once in a blue moon when I actually have time for it.
Yes. From simpler days.
Oh, I miss those simpler days. Well, all we gotta do, Sneaky, is win the lottery, and then we can go back to those simpler days.
Indeed. Indeed. Let's see what else we got here. Oh yeah, so this guy, Aura was right, by the way. Aura, if you can find it, because he apparently couldn't delete that post on Space Battles. So
Okay, I'll start looking.
Yeah, look for between chapters 22 and the current thread mark for chapter 23. It should be there.
Probably gonna be like right after chapter 22 and like the. Like,
Yeah,
probably a
it would
page
probably be like a
after it.
page or two after. Yeah, probably. Absolutely. Spite writing is quite powerful, and honestly, it was something that I was trying to capture and use against a lot of these people back in the early days of this podcast, when I would give very caustic reviews to every story we visited. I was kind of hoping people would spite write. Because honestly, them spite writing and getting better just to spite me, or them never writing again, both are wins for me.
Spite writing is great. Very cathartic.
But yeah, I would love to get my hands on the giant AN, that where he just fucking spurged out, because this dude, holy shit, he spurged the fuck out. Unfortunately, this was...
You said after 22?
Yeah, after 22, before 23.
You only posted 22, and then you immediately posted the Freya backstory thing on Space Battles. I'm looking right now.
No, it's not thread marked.
Yeah, I know. I'm just looking, so there's nothing in between. He didn't post 20. There's no official 23 on here. Seems.
Oh, really?
What's the max chapter on on fanfiction.net? Is it 25?
Yeah.
Yeah, he didn't post any official posts after that. So I'm just skimming
22
through it
was
now.
his final chapter.
Yeah, I'm looking through it now.
Interesting. But yeah, no, I was. But so we actually can probably find them if we go to the review section here. We can see what some people were saying on chapter 23 originally. Let's see what. Hey, look, guys! Guess who it is?
Oh no, who is
I
it?
was just flying through. Guess who
Nope.
popped up on screen?
Who is it?
Me.
is this a review you left
It's the review
in
I left
2020?
in 2020. Yeah, I was flying through the reviews. I am like halfway. I'm at the halfway point for reviews for just chapter 23 alone, and my brain is like fucking neuron activated. I see that assortment of colors, and my brain's just like, that's me.
Found it. I think I found it.
Yeah, he got bullied off the site. Yeah, he fucking did. Yeah, dude got bullied so fucking hard. Yeah, here we go.
Uh-oh.
Oh,
It was tagged as informational.
he still thread marked it.
It wasn't in the main thread, but it was tagged as informational.
Wow. Yeah, no, he said he de-thread marked it. That's what I'm saying.
Wow.
Wow.
This is the only post I found before
He still kept
20.
it though. Yeah, no, July 13th, 2020. My review is from 2022. Sorry, July 14th. Yeah. Holy shit. Yeah, here we go. So we'll read his message first, and then we'll see what my review response was to that.
Oh boy.
Didn't expect so many positive reviews. My hope is restored. On that note, I've edited this statement to clarify what I meant. Oh no, it's not even the original dick stroke! This dude, in his original fanfiction... Wait, we have a date! We have a date! Wayback Machine! Way back! Let's go way back!
Oh, he edited it on the day that you left your review. The edit was from July 14th.
Yeah, because I fucking... No, he sent a PM back to me, and he was like, yeah, you're kind of right.
Oh no. That is the worst thing you can do is admit Sneaky's right.
This dude...
Never give him that power.
Alright, so we will... Yeah, so chapter 23. So we'll copy this. Paste this here. No way. Nothing. Oh, that's rough. That's rough, man.
Yeah, well, doesn't someone actually have to, like, archive the page?
I honestly thought someone would. I honestly thought someone would.
A lot of sites are automatically scraped, but if you have robots.txt or something turned on right, it won't do it for forums. Or if your forums require login.
Yeah. Okay, so this one didn't work. Let's see if we have a result for this post.
No, there is not. I just checked.
Oh, you just checked? Damn. Wait. What about... What if we just remove the post? Oh no, it did just check it, and we didn't do the post thing. Okay. Edited 2014. Damn. You guys will never see the fucking spurgeoning this guy had, and that I apparently slapped him down hard enough for that he went, okay, yeah, you're right. Anyway, so here we go. I bet other people talked about it. It's possible. Someone else can go looking for it. I'm just going to read what his edit was. This isn't a chapter. I hope you read it anyway. Many of you are disappointed. That's understandable. This story is a classic example of broken promises. But what you wanted to know was why you were led into this... but you want to know why you were led into thinking this was a harem story with an OP protagonist? Because it was supposed to be a harem story with an OP protagonist. That's exactly what I was going for when I originally wrote the first chapter. We know. If you read the earlier chapters recently, you'll see I laid a lot of groundwork for it. The harem was supposed to be more than just gods. There was supposed to be a lot of people in the harem. What happened? I asked myself this question every time I wrote the new chapter. The truth is, and anyone who has written a fic more than 100k words will know this, you can't plan for everything. No, that's fair. I mean, we couldn't even plan 5k words ahead, because shit that happened 1k words ahead would completely diverge where the fuck we were going with it in the first place, right, Max?
I don't want to talk about that.
I'm drinking. You get random ideas midway, and the characters gain a life of their own. The plot starts going off tangents of your initial vision. That's just the process of writing, and that's why you need multiple drafts to realign the flow and reset expectations. Someone mentioned this fic would make a horrible book.
Was that someone you?
It might have been.
Nice. I love how the moment you said that, you paused, like, oh wait, he means Sneak.
Hang on a second, let me look at that review again. Oh boy.
I absolutely agree. A broken promise will never sell, but here's the thing. All those problems would have been fixed if this was a book.
What?
Excuse you?
Okay, no. So what he's trying to say here is he's saying that because books are published wholesale and aren't published chapter by chapter, that whenever he finished writing the book wholesale, his editor and or him could go back and go through and be like, wait a second, hold on, we kind of lost ourselves here. We got to rewrite these parts.
That would happen before you published.
Yes. It also
That's what he's saying. Like
it also would happen if you actually did proofreading on your story,
which everyone should.
Yeah, absolutely should. Yeah.
God.
Yeah. Also, give it like a day or two. Ideas that sound great at 2 a.m. do not sound great at 2 p.m. 3 days later, when you're looking at what you wrote and going, "Why the fuck did I think this was a good plan?"
Yep.
Yes, there are a lot of times where your characters will diverge because they will just go off and do things because this is how you built them as a character, and yeah, they'll do other shit. We've had to deal with that with Undying Scarab. The story is now 170k words long. We're about to release like a 20k word chapter, and that's going to be the chapter 1 of about a 7 chapter of the same length next arc, which is only the first arc of the final end, which is going to be another 2 arcs, minimum. So the story got its scope a little bit changed up, because Taylor is a very difficult character to work with.
Yeah, don't say.
Not really.
It is when she's actively trying to be a hero.
No.
Yeah.
Nah. Now, if you're trying to subvert her into something other than being a hero, and she wants to be a hero, that's when she gets difficult.
Yes, she can't be a hero because she's currently on the ultra evil death necromancer side, but she wants to be a hero.
That sounds 100% Taylor.
Yeah. Books go through several rounds of revisions and redrafting, during which I could have adjusted the entire tone of the story. Honestly, I think your main issue here was quite a simple one, and I believe I told him this in a PM. We'll see if we can pull up the PM after this as well. When you make your story title, there's going to be a massive harem in this story, and there's going to be lots of harem people in the harem. There's going to be a big harem. You don't have the option of revising chapters until there's, no harem anymore. You don't get that path is solidly erased for your story to go. It's like releasing a book on like 99 reasons of how Rain is good, and you get to like reason 13 why Rain is good, and then you start talking about how awesome it is to be dry for the rest of the book. It's like, well, your book is about rain and why it's good, so you kind of have to talk about rain and why it's good. Kind of now a requirement that you set for yourself. If your story was titled something like, I don't fucking know, Kusanagi Goto's Second Chance, oh no, not another harem, then yes, Kusanagi Goto getting out of the harem and getting the girl is a completely valid path.
Mm-hmm.
But
Makes sense.
that's not what he titled his story. He titled his story, Big Fucking Harem, there's a big fucking harem here. Hey guys, read this story if you want to read about the big fucking harem. So you kind of have to write the big fucking harem. Or not write the story at all. You know, just call it something else, re-release it, make it a Loki-only story. Super easy. Barely any inconvenience.
But that costs money.
No, it doesn't. It's fan fiction. Free.
Time is money, friend.
That's fair. Proof by contrapositive. Either way, an author can maybe do a full rewrite, but the response is as we see here, yes. And that he never updated ever again. This isn't a book! This is fan fiction! This story is written and read one chapter at a time. I write each chapter with maybe 1 or 2 scenes in my head, then fill in the blanks. I proofread for 2 hours and then upload it. If the author had course corrected after a few chapters, would people have come back? It's hard to say, because he is a good author who does a decent job at writing compelling characters that make you want to read more of them. However, I think his response to everyone was atrocious.
Mm-hmm. And it doesn't help he doubled down.
He had a massive spurting out. He doubled down. He tripled down. He deleted the double and triple down, and then quadruple downed, but lighter. So it's really hard to say if people would have come back. If he went and deleted everything right before they decided to go solo with each other, I think maybe he could have lured people back. Maybe. But if you're talking about like keeping everything he's written so far and then course correcting back into a harem, I don't think so. It's hard. It's hard to course correct, especially once you've made author notes about it, defending it. Especially the way he went about it. It's a lot like Lords of Land and Fire, where he lost a large portion of his viewer base as well, because one day in 2016 he decided he was going to post a chapter with a giant like multi-paragraph spurgeoning about Trump.
Why am I not surprised?
And how
Did he
all
do it on
Trump...
his Tanya story?
Yes, on his Tanya story.
Fucking knew it.
And he spurged out and he called every Trump supporter a hyper racist, sexist, Islamophobe, and how they all need to be put to death because they are, the manifest evil of the world.
Wow, what a cocksucker.
He deleted that chapter a day later. And tried to pretend that he never posted it. But the viewer rate on his story is massively dropped off.
Gee, it's almost like if you alienate half your audience, you lose them.
Come on, leftists reading Tanya stories.
They read it ironically. She's trans representation, don't you know?
I unironically want to see someone go in on Reddit to one of those subreddits and talk about Tanya.
Oh no.
With talk about them as like a figure in history. Like first you gotta build them up as like this figure in history, and how they're like they were like the first trans person in Germany or some shit like that, trans and gay in Germany. And then you gotta start leaking details where it's like, well, you know, some people wanted to erase her from history for the bombing of this town, and some people say she's responsible for the Geneva Convention on this war crime.
Oh no.
What? I just come back into
Showing
Walked
club it.
away for like 4 minutes. But what are we talking about?
The war crimes.
Sneaky's talking about baiting Reddit with something.
I was talking
With
about
Tanya.
baiting Reddit. Reddit's overwhelming obsessive approval for trans people by talking about Tanya, but without mentioning that it's from an anime or that she's not real, and then slowly building up to introducing her war crimes in the conversation, and seeing how many people realize it or backtrack their support for that person.
Oh my god, Sneaky.
It'd be great.
I can see it going so far, so fast before anyone realizes because they're so gung-ho on it.
Just don't mention what side she fought for.
Bringing in politics always seems like a death blow. If you go hard in the other direction, you get instantly banned. Yes. Yeah, it's really interesting because I've seen a lot of authors express negative opinions about the right, and then mysteriously, like 60 to 80% of their reader base disappears.
But if you express negative opinions about the left,
You
you
get
either
banned.
get banned or you get ostracized by a very vocal minority, and they try to get you banned.
Yeah, and you know, you get ostracized by a guy named Merlin who chases you down and harasses you on every single account you own until you get muted.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That certainly sounds like an experience.
Oh yeah, it was.
Yes.
It was the funniest shit. He spent literal days just sitting on Sign's profile, correcting the record on anyone who tried to show support for Sign. Yeah.
This man had no life.
No, he had a life and he chose to spend it on you.
Yeah, because of the timestamps, it was like within, you know, at least 10 to 20 minutes of anyone posting positive things on Sign's profile, he would show up being like, well, actually, do you know?
The fact that he spent days following your account, just responding to people, was like, bruh, you need to get a life.
Well, it's
That
because
was his life.
yeah, it was his life. It's because I believe that was the point in time where you posted something very controversial. I realize that doesn't narrow it down, but he started spurging out in the forums, and a mod actually came in and told him to stop spurging. And so he just followed you to literally everywhere else, and then just just harassed you literally everywhere else.
Yeah, that was it.
And then got you banned from that one Discord.
From my own Discord.
Yes, from your own Discord. Yeah, yep.
Got
I'm
my,
sorry. What?
Yes.
He got my account banned, which included the control over my own original Discord.
Yeah.
So now we have backups and backups to the backups and backups to the backups to the backups. Paranoia, yes.
I'm pretty sure he just committed a felony.
Probably. But good luck
Pretty sure he
finding a
got
judge.
Like that's actually stalking.
If you cross-posted to forums but only posted based author notes on the Fanfiction website, how quickly would people on the forums catch on? Barely at all. No, there's barely any crossover. Sign can admit this himself when it comes to numbers. People that read the story on FFN, they don't go to his forums. People who read the story on the forums, they don't go to his FFN.
No.
Those
Very
are
little crossover.
wholly separate communities. Very little crossover. We're talking about fractions of a fraction of a fraction here. You gotta have someone who reads both for some reason. And then also is willing to comment on both for whatever reason. And then also, they have to be reputable enough for people to believe them. So, it's just not.
For some reason.
For some reason, yeah.
I get retards on FFN telling me shit like, oh, well, you could never fit 15,000 people onto a submarine and carry them across the Atlantic. It's like, motherfucker, do you not realize that the unit sizes in Tanya are completely different because they count aerial mages like we count planes. It's weird.
No, it's not weird. It makes total sense. That shit happens all the fucking time. Whenever it comes to shit where it's like, oh yeah, if you get good at American military history, you can recognize when certain projects were being headed by certain branches of the military without even being told, because of the weird way it was structured, where it's like, oh yeah, a sergeant was in charge of this, and you're like, what the fuck, why was a sergeant in charge of this? And it's like, oh, it's the Marines, where a sergeant is effectively a lieutenant, but because of their weird fucking structure. And obviously, yes, I'm using hyperbole here. I'm aware that Marines aren't the fucking sergeants, are the equivalent of lieutenants and elsewhere, but you get my point. Where the very differences, the big varied differences between the branches, we'll just see some really weird ways of qualifying things that are very distinct. And so aerial mages being counted as planes, probably because originally when the project first started, this would be the most believable thing I would ever read about if we had aerial mages, was the fucking Air Force was in charge of them initially. Because they just started out, it was a project of the Air Force of, hey, what if we just remove the plane from the pilot and just have them fly? And they, whoever at the time was in charge of the project either thought the Air Force would be the best for it, or the Air Force is the one that brought it forward, because they're the ones that deal with aviation the most. So when it comes to getting people who like flying, they had the best bet of finding a mage who wanted to fly by, going to the people already flying and seeing if they could be mages.
I think in story, that's something like what they did, except it was just they had the Air Force advise on this, and the Air Force went, well, you know what? We should structure them as flight wings like we do for our fighter planes.
Yeah,
and
sure.
The Army went, okay, yeah, sure, we'd do that.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's a believable, weird idiosyncrasy of military shit, and it's like, yeah, okay, fine. But yeah, people are really stupid. People, for example, thought we were exaggerating when we did Undying Scarab. And we're like, oh, 60 boats showed up. And they're like, oh, wow, you're making these battles really big. I'm like, no. 60 boats could carry an average, if they were all galleons, right? 60 boats on average could carry about 10,000 people and supplies for those 10,000 people.
Depending on your time period, that's anywhere between huge to middling force.
We're talking huge. We based it off of the Roman Legion era, where Roman Legion was 10,000 soldiers.
Huge.
Yeah. Because, I mean, this is literally the Lich King, the guy who's going to try and kill the entire world and is strong enough to actually succeed. So they were like, yeah, we need to both send legions. We need to send 2 legions each to these landing points to just make a beachhead.
We need a lot of people.
Yeah, we need a lot of fucking people to fight this war, because this is a war where if we lose, it's not just we lose some territory, we all die. So we were like, okay, so we need a legion, so what we need is, you know, enough ships to carry that, and what it turned out to be like for the Horde, it ended up being like 54 ships or something like that, and for the Alliance, there was like 68 ships. So it's like, yeah, we're not exaggerating on this shit. We're just writing the real numbers, and a lot of people didn't get that because you travel over on one ship in the game.
Oh, that's a completely different animal. You're the fucking protagonist.
Yeah. Which author is this in America? Blah blah blah. I don't know. Is that Rooster Teeth? Also, is the statement "which author is this" paired with the picture you posted? Yeah, it is. Okay.
What the fuck is this?
Anyway, back to this guy trying to justify to himself why his story about harems ended up not being a story about harems anymore after he had written 100k words about the story being a harem.
No, yeah, we're still on that, aren't we?
Yes, we're still on this, man. So I would fix a great many things, not just this harem thing. I would also probably fix the title. I won't rewrite this, so the title stays. When I wrote the prologue, I thought Campione plus Danmachi Gods equals question mark. This fix serves as the answer to the question, and the why is a title is a question of itself. I guess you're starting to realize that now, that actually the title is a question and isn't meant to reference the original title of the original story that this is based on. Don't you see the kind of 5D chess he is playing here?
Yeah, he's a fucking moron.
So while this is the edited version, are you guys starting to see why I might have started my review response off with, "Are you done stroking your own dick?"
Still a mystery.
It wasn't always like this, though. I fully intended for this to be a massive harem. I laid the groundwork and wrote the characters, but then I really liked Loki, so I decided to go solo on her.
This is where you should have just stopped your story and just made a new one with that from the beginning.
Exactly. Loki from Danmachi is the best thing I've ever written. She is everything. Likable, proactive, genuine. The closest thing you will ever read as a real person. And
This is fucking nuts.
I didn't come to read a fanfiction or read about real people. I came to get away from that.
Real people are a problem. Because real people have values and emotions and vulnerabilities. All the oh shit, guys, authors being accidentally based.
Oh no.
Just remember, earlier he asked if he was writing women as real people, and then he comes out and defines what real people are.
Oh no.
Whew. She is the reason why this story has plot. Without her, Godo really might have spent 20 chapters doing nothing but cooking for goddesses. Like it or not, this fic is about Loki, not Godo. All your criticisms regarding Godo as an MC is valid. I did a poor job with him. But as someone who has tried making a harem in real life...
Excuse fucking you.
Whoa.
Oh. No, that's not what he said, Sneaky.
It's not, no. Ask someone who has tried making a harem in real life. Chances are they didn't succeed. Well, you just didn't ask enough Muslims. You're Islamophobic.
Mormons.
Or Mormons, yes, exactly. You weren't diverse enough, author. I can't even read that statement out loud on Twitch. God damn it, Phoenix.
Is he continuing with, like, the worrying takes?
No. He's just talking about plot that happened in a Wildbow story.
Oh, I see what you mean.
Yeah. You can't have a harem, period, ever, without reducing people to traits and suppressing their emotions, because no one would ever share their loved one with anyone else.
Yes, you can, and there are people who are genuinely into that lifestyle, you naive motherfucker.
Bro just seriously went and put the entire polyamory community on blast with that.
Like I
Oh,
said,
yeah.
the author being accidentally based.
I mean, okay, don't get me wrong, it's difficult. That I wouldn't even attempt to try
I
it.
cannot do that to Loki. Not after seeing her become real to me.
He didn't
What,
wanna
does he
have his
take her out?
waifu.
Does he have like a cardboard cutout of Loki, take her on dates or something? Like, bruh,
Yes.
chill the
This
fuck
dude
out.
might be like the Suzumiya guy. he's got his wall pasted with Loki photos.
Yes.
That's what he sounds like. Like, bruh, you're going a little too hard for a character.
You cannot ever have a harem fic if you want characters to have development as people.
That's a
That
lie,
is
but
patently
bruh.
false.
He just
Because
completely denies my entire business model here.
because in non-harem stories, people are capable of being hurt. And
So
in
are
harem
people in harem
stories,
stories.
in harem stories, people cannot be hurt.
My guy, some of the best written harem stories I've seen are literally about dealing with that issue.
Like, sure, the stereotypical harem fic has like a whole thing of just like it generally never is a problem. Like, sure, but that doesn't mean anything. Oh my god.
Hold up, guys.
You're smart. You put the issue off by talking about it ahead of time.
You guys thought he was putting the polyamory community on blast? Wait for him to place the entire fucking female sex on blast with the next sentence.
No.
Why would anyone, if they're a real person, want someone else if they're already happy with who they have?
Oh no, Arthur. Arthur, you didn't.
Arthur, you're playing with fire.
Guys,
Nuclear
remember, this is the V2 rant. This is the V2 rant. This is the improved edited rant.
It's something. That's all I can say, I think.
This goes doubly for Goto. He has spent so much time sealing himself off from the world. Look at how long it took in my story for him to warm up to Loki. Do you really think he is going to recruit gods left and right, even though he already has Loki? And the author misses the entire point of Campione with this post.
Yep. Like, bro, I haven't seen Campione in who knows how long, and I understood part of the point of the harem shit.
Like, the joke about Goto's harem is that he didn't look for a single one of them. And that half of his harem is quite literally people he saved for the sole purpose of making sure they didn't die. For no other reason. That's all he saved them for. Is because he didn't want them to die, because he didn't think they should have.
Yeah, he was a standard normal person with, like, at least with the level of conscious. It's like his actions won them over. That was the whole point. It was corny, but it fit.
Yeah, exactly.
That was the point.
Yeah.
And then they all agreed to the harem thing because, well,
Campione.
yeah,
That was kind of
and
well, it was a cultural thing with Campione. It's like it was kind of expected. They either were domineering kings with, like, had a bunch of women.
Well, yes,
or they were
but
weirdos.
also the reason why they agreed to it really is because none of them wanted to force Goto to choose.
that's what I was getting
Fair
at.
enough. Sorry. Okay. I wasn't sure about that.
Yeah, so the whole joke about Goto ending up in Danmachi and then going around doing Goto things in Danmachi would have been collecting a harem of goddesses, because this would have been a ridiculous thing. No mortal would have ever been able to do this, because goddesses, obviously would never be like, yeah, I'll just share this with another god.
Mel.
Yeah, except now.
Mel.
Yeah. On the whole, not talking about exceptions here.
Obviously.
Anyway, so what Alpha Wolf says, he's gonna get canceled. Polly is part of the LGBT group who wants to report him for hate speech. Well, don't
I
worry.
don't think they are.
He never updated again. All of his stories are fucking dead.
Oh, he died as an author.
Yeah, he died as an author. He stood on this hill and then he fucking died on it.
He picked the bad hill.
Yeah.
He dropped this, like, several years ago. Like, that's how late to the whole canceling thing is, Alpha. He dropped it and vanished. He probably made a new account and started.
I just want to inflict a curse of ages on everyone. This was 5 years ago.
Meh.
Good lord, has it really
2018
been that
was
long?
2018 was 5 years ago.
Fuck, sometimes I look at Fanfiction, it was this long ago I found it? Son of a bitch.
My favorite is back in the day when I was like looking through my Fanfiction, I was like, oh, bam. I think I was on call with Max, and I was talking about a story, and Max was like, oh, that sounds alright. Can you send it to me? I was like, oh yeah, sure. The last update was only like in 2019. And Max was like, Sneaky. That was 2 years ago. I'm like, oh. Oh.
I mean, okay, 2 years is not a huge gap to put something on hold and go back to writing it again after.
But it is for a fanfic.
I've done it myself.
You're not everyone else.
Yeah, okay, fine.
Anyway. Trust and love, blah, blah, blah. Goto, blah, blah, blah. I love her too. Tough luck, learn to share. Yeah, then one day, Goto comes back with Freya and says, I love her too. She's now in the harem. There's no way I can do that to Loki or anyone in real life.
That's not how you do it, you dumb motherfucker.
That's not how Goto would do it either.
Certainly not. He would save Freya, and then it'd be, well, we need to talk about this. Between Freya and Loki.
Yes, Freya and Loki would talk about it, not Goto.
It wouldn't even involve
Part
Goto.
of the joke would be the two of them accepting they're both going for Godot.
Yes.
If you like that sort of thing, what is wrong with you? Who could ever enjoy polyamory?
Oh, he just straight out said it. Okay.
This dude is
People are not
unhinged.
trophies to be collected.
Bruh.
Or
This dude has a
conquests to be numbered.
This
dude
went
has
from
a
0 to 100 real
horrible
fast.
understanding of polyamory. Holy shit.
He went from white knighting, like, this character's person, she's special, I like her a lot, to, how dare you?
Not even that. This dude's like anti-sexual revolution. This dude's coming out being like, you should only love one person in your life ever.
He is completely anti-feminist.
Holy shit.
Unintentionally based.
Even if fictional characters are fictional, they still have values, emotions, and weaknesses. You must treat fictional characters respectfully.
You dumb mother. Oh my god. This is one of those guys who says, if you don't have the fictional character's permission to masturbate to her, it's rape.
Oh god, it's a keyboard warrior.
Yes.
The simple truth is this. The key to good character development is writing someone as a person.
I'm surprised he knew that, considering his question in an earlier author's note.
Moron.
Oh god, the more we listen to this, the more I'm like, I'm so glad this fic died off before it got any further, and this author went on a spiel more so, because this is just like, you should not be an author, or at the very least, you should not be trying to write this stuff and then justifying it. This is shit you should just write on your own, or as a simple idea.
I'll write it, post it, and then don't engage, you know, and also don't fucking bait and switch.
Oh yeah, definitely, but it's like, Jesus Christ, dude, you're just going full ham. It's like, if you wanted to change your idea to go pure Goto and Loki with your new keyboard warrior mindset or whatever, write another story. Don't continue this one where people are going to come in expecting one thing only to be baited by another. You're just setting things up for it to go down, because people will come stump on this fic and still read it. Like, old fics still get updates or get comments, reviews. Like, fucking, doesn't Lupin still get occasional DMs or reviews going, when you updating Fate's Gamble 3 or whatever? Sneaky might know, but I think he stepped away.
Yeah. No, you're completely correct. I was muted because I was blowing my nose.
Ah.
But, you know, it's just like, the dude goes on to say that he wanted this to be a harem story, if only to maintain the tone of Campione and Don Machi, right? But he simply couldn't do it. He tried to make it a harem story, but he couldn't. I couldn't carry on writing a harem story, despite the entire fucking idea being based on two harem animes, with the idea of them colliding, and the idea of there being a giant fucking harem. But I realized once I wrote the giant fucking harem, I couldn't be a harem. Goto would only ever love one person.
That sounds like author putting their personal views on the character and not writing the character.
50-50. I mean, Godo is the sort of person that would be like, yes, I have my loving partner and I will only love them forever because they're my loving partner. Is he the sort of person that would do that? Yes.
Goto is also the sort of person who would go, "Oh, you all love me and you've all decided you want to be with me together. Well, I can't really turn you down, so okay."
I can't turn you down because that would make you sad, and I don't want to make you sad, so I guess I'll just have to love all of you. Yes.
Or if they're all gathered together and they haven't told him they want to do that, then he would make the Tenchi choice of, "I'm sorry, I can't hurt any of you, so I can't make a choice."
Exactly, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Blah, blah, blah. I tried writing the harem multiple times. Do you guys remember the omakes? I couldn't add her in. I decided to make them one-shots. That's when I truly threw the towel in. It'd be when I started writing Freya. After coming up with the massive AU backstory for her, I realized I could never make her love Godo, because that would go against the entire AU backstory I personally wrote for her to join her into the harem. I wrote an AU backstory to explain Freya joining the harem. And I realized at the end of the AU backstory that I wrote that it would make her not join the harem.
Author failed at authoring.
Author. That's where you don't post it. And
That's when you edit.
rewrite it. If you are doing a complete AU, if you are discarding all lore and are writing something from scratch, you literally can say what goes. Now, the audience reaction to that and how correct you are with how the rest of the canon works, that's a completely different story. But we're talking about this from the isolated perspective of writing an AU backstory.
I mean, I can see why he'd want to do an AU backstory for Freya. The woman
Absolutely.
is like,
Absolutely.
she's like Ishtar. She's got a reverse harem, so that's a big no.
Absolutely. But at the same time, if you are writing it, that means you, author, as the author of the original character you are now in the process of creating, have the ultimate authorial authority to write that character however the fuck you want.
You have full control over it.
This is not a situation where you're like, oh, well, Freya would never do that. Because Freya ain't Freya anymore. She's OC that is called Freya and has all of Freya's powers.
OC and Freya's skin.
Meat suiting, yes.
Yes, me too.
And that's the point. It's just like, if you are in control of this entire character's backstory and you've decided to disregard all canon regarding them, you cannot then turn around and go, oh, well, sorry, guys. I realized we couldn't do a harem story anymore because the completely original AU lore I wrote says it can't happen now. For the harem story I'm writing. Well then, author, one of these things has to change. And for some fucking reason, you decided it was the harem part of the harem story.
And then he decided it was the audience that needed to change.
Yes, the audience. Also, polyamory is bad. Loving more than one person is bad. Adultery.
I mean, base take in real life, but this is literature.
Yeah. Also, we're talking about gods, so.
That too.
Yeah.
Conventional rules don't apply to gods. They almost all just fucked around willy-nilly.
They are literally narrative forces. That's what gods are supposed to be in a story, as a narrative force. So you being like, oh, well, you see, in my AU, all gods subscribe to the Christian belief of one man, one woman.
No, Christian belief did not subscribe to that originally. That's a newer thing.
Oh, I'm aware. I'm aware. It came about because of women. I'll never let women forget this.
That's like that whole acceptance is a virtue, tolerance is a virtue thing. No, it's not. Some things are literally intolerable in the Bible. And this is why God nuked Sodom and Gomorrah.
Yes. Yep. Yeah, one cannot tolerate the intolerable. Because if you tolerate the intolerable, then everything becomes intolerable.
In fact, the Bible had several verses on things that shall not be tolerated, period, for any reason, and this is why, and this is what you should do about it.
Also, the Bible also said, in true translation, that it's not thou shalt not kill.
It's thou shalt not murder.
It's thou shalt not kill unjustly.
Yes.
Which is a massive difference. Because justified killings are far wider in scope.
If a man is trying to kill your wife and child, kill that man. That's just fucking math.
Yeah. Or, alternatively, if a family friend, say, kidnaps and rapes your 14-year-old boy until finally a month later your child commits suicide and he is captured by the police, when, well, the only sensible option is simply to wait at the airport pretending to take a phone call before turning around and putting a bullet in his skull.
Or, you pay his bail so he gets out and then, take care of business.
By the way, I was obviously referring to the that one mad lad.
I forget who that was, but I do remember that story.
I forget his name, but that was a great thing. I think the best thing about that story was honestly the wife's take on that whole situation, where she was pissed at the dad because he didn't tell her, because she would have drove him there herself.
Oh, base.
She was quite literally like, why didn't you tell me? I would have helped you. Which, I mean, hey, and the entire jury found him not guilty of any crime. Weird.
Gee, I wonder how that happened.
What case is this? I believe it was in California specifically. Can you get a link? It's under the Mad Lads that Dankula has done. The family friend was down on his luck. The family let him stay in their house for like a while, and then the family friend disappeared one day with their son. He did lots of fucked up shit to the son as they were traveling. Eventually he got caught, and as the police were escorting him onto a plane to be transferred to whatever district he was being tried in, the father was actually hiding, pretending to be on the phone in the exact hallway they were escorting the guy through, and the second the guy passes by him, he just turns around with a revolver and just executes him. and then the entire jury found him not guilty of any charges.
Woo.
It didn't even take a long deliberation. They're like, nope, justified. Court dismissed. It's like, well, shit. Yeah, what can you do, you know? Oh, God.
Found it. It was New Orleans.
New Orleans, okay. Yep, there, yep.
Gary Ploche.
It always comes back to the fucking French.
Yeah, he's not wrong.
True. True. I still do remember that Vice quote will live in infamy. The woman from Vice who went to go interview that murderer, and the murderer was like, well, you know, if someone killed someone I cared about, I would pay their bail. You would let them walk free and forgive them? I didn't say that. I said I would pay their bail.
That actually happened here recently.
Yeah, I saw.
India.
I saw, yeah. I mean, hey, you know what? Yeah, you know, when people lose trust with the justice system, it's what it is.
When the justice system stops being just,
Yep,
there's a reason the Second Amendment exists.
indeed.
Several.
There are many things I wanted to do with this fic. So many characters I wish to develop. I wanted to build Godo's relationship with every female, but I could never figure out how. I think there's potential between Godo and Hestia, not as lovers, but as friends. People who could confide in each other. And that's the problem with the way I wrote this fic. Maybe I'm just not good enough as a writer. I could only focus on one thing at a time, but by the time I finished developing Loki as a character, I was clueless how to develop Freya. That's why I used flashbacks that spaced out and upset the pace of the story. If I knew what I was doing with her earlier, I would have laid the foundations for this much, much earlier. Everything would have been far more organic. I mean, you're writing a harem story, dude. You don't really have to put too much thought into it. But
Not true.
okay. You
You
can.
put thought into it if you want it to work.
Sure, you can. For the general audience we're talking about here,
Yeah, that's fair. They have low standards.
yes. I'm doing what I can, mixing in tales of Aurorio and Don Machi's lore to make things work with a mixed reception to my audience who have been getting none of this before now. Your criticisms of Freya's backstory and character being sudden, badly paced, and boring are warranted. I was doing my best, but isn't warranted is calling Freya a redundant character because she's no longer in the harem. No, you're wrong, author. If you have a series where you have one main character, and you follow this one main character's adventures for 8 episodes, and then episode 9, the love interest walks in, and now you're following not just the main character, but the love interest. The audience is focused. They like where this is going. Love interest is clearly now, because you are placing narrative importance upon her, either going to get with the main character, or she is going to become a pivotal plot point for the main character's development, if she's not. Because this is not real life. This is fiction, which means you only have so much time and space to work with everything. You cannot devote all of your time to introducing every new character that shows up on screen with a fully fleshed out backstory, some side quest action going on, unless they're going to be part of the main cast. And just adding a character in, spending 4 chapters on their backstory, writing 30k words of original lore, and then turning around to the audience and saying, all right, well, enough about that character, we're going to go back to ignoring her and she's not going to appear again. People are completely justified in looking at you and saying, well, then what the fuck was the point?
Why did you waste my time?
And if the story is about a harem developing around Godo, then people are going to frame all character interactions around, is this character going to be in the harem of Godo? And if you spend 30k words developing a character who is female, who was initially interested in Godo, maybe question mark, and you were developing potential between the two, and then you come out at the end of the 30k words and say, oh yeah, by the way guys, she's not going to be interested in Godo, they're going to be alright friends, people are going to be angry. Know your audience. If you're writing a harem comedy story, as you advertise you were writing, you have to keep writing the harem comedy. You can't halfway through decide to suddenly be a slice of life horror story and then not be shocked when people don't like the change. It's just how it is. Hey, newsflash to everyone reading this. You cannot stop treating someone like a person because you can't fuck them.
No, but you can certainly stop interacting with them and wasting time with them.
Yes, definitely 100% true. And to the dismay of many women who don't realize this. Not even being sexist here, I know quite a number of women in my college days who would complain to me about them being shocked that X is no longer spending time with them when they got a boyfriend. And I would just look at them. Like, you realize...
Why doesn't he spend time with me? Why were you only spending time with me because you wanted to have sex with me?
Wild. Couldn't figure that one out. Yeah. Weird. Anyway. Author is trying to moralize and grandstand to an audience reading a harem comedy story about how fictional characters are real people. Let that one sink in. You know the nice guy horror stories where they turn into jerks once they get turned down? That's you.
Those aren't horror stories.
Also they aren't horror stories, yeah. It's... Hey, I took you out on this date and I bought you this stuff and we hang out a bunch. We should start dating. No, I don't like you like that. Oh, okay, well, fuck you, bye. Oh my god, I can't believe he just turned into a jerk. Why won't he spend money and time on me anymore? I only told him I'm not interested in him.
Won't he give me free shit and all his time and be my backup guy?
Why won't he give me free shit anymore?
That's exactly what they want. Have you heard of this thing where they go around getting free lunch from guys?
Yes.
They'll hook up with on Tinder.
Yep.
Get them to buy them free dinner, free lunch, and then just leave.
Yes, I saw the articles coming out. Yeah.
Yeah, no, one drink only, first, second, third date.
Freya, just like Loki, just like every character I am going to write in this story, is a fully realized human being. That's right. Every character in their story is a real person, and you need to treat them like one.
Okay. I mean, I would hope you would go to the effort of trying to make all of your characters act and seem like real people.
Yes. This is like the opposite of the kid that like plays COD and then can't separate shooting fictional characters and then like pretending or actually shooting up his school in real life.
There are no kids who play COD and go, I want to go shoot up a school. That's a fucking myth.
I wish I was joking. I didn't say they were successful. I didn't say they even tried. But I did know of children, specifically children, not kids my age, you know, not even teenagers, like I'm talking like 10-year-olds here, who played COD and it wasn't COD, was it COD specifically? It was I think it was COD. And then they started shooting people with, it was either paintballs or BBs.
Ooh.
And telling people they were out. And they have to wait for a respawn. And this was like not at school, but it was like to other people. So yeah. It was a moment of like, yeah, the kid could not separate what's okay to do in a video game environment and what's okay to do in real life with real people walking around doing their own shit.
That sounds like a fucking kid with some kind of mental issues, not your normal, average, everyday kid.
Yes, you're correct, but what I'm trying to do here is I am trying to offer an equivalency, because this author is the opposite of that. He is a person who has gone so deep into his delusions that he now believes that fictional characters, not even characters based on real people, but wholly fictional characters, characters that have never, will never exist as entities. Barring an AI revolution where we give all the AI the ability to represent as a character, but ignoring that part. These characters who have never and will never exist. He is demanding his audience to treat them like real people. That's just fucking wild.
He's a moron.
She is more than her relationship. If you discount her or see her value in the story as only a romantic interest for Godo, you are not being fair to her and giving her credit as a real person. Side characters don't exist to service the protagonist. Yes, they do.
Yeah. Bruh.
Yes, they do. I wouldn't say protagonist. I wouldn't say protagonist specifically, but side characters are there to service the main cast. Whether that's to be a, you know, teaching a morality lesson to the main cast, to serve as the villain of the day, to serve as the character that creates the plot movement. Yes, they are there solely to move the main cast forward in a direction, not always physically.
Mm. Okay, it sounds like he's saying you shouldn't expect side characters to do anything relevant to the main character at all. They're just there taking up space and time, and if you expect them to interact with the main character at all in any meaningful way, then that's wrong.
Quite literally, the commentary is, don't expect everything I'm telling you about the side characters to be relevant to the story I was previously telling. It's quite literally a scenario where it's like telling the story of Luke Skywalker, and then right in the middle of let's go with The Empire Strikes Back. Right. Right in the middle of The Empire Strikes Back. We just pan off to another planet. And it's a new species we've never heard of, and some kid is like leaving their house for the first time without their parents' supervision, and we spend the next 30 minutes of just them wandering around town buying some food from the marketplace.
It's like, why are you wasting my fucking time doing this?
Yeah, it's quite literally why are we here? What does this have to do with the story? And then George Lucas turns around and is like, don't fucking tell me how to do that. They're important to themselves. The side characters don't exist to service the protagonist. It's like, well, I mean, we got a 2-hour movie here, and you just spent the past 30 minutes talking about this character that apparently has nothing to do with the movie at all, actually, according to you. So what the fuck was this? Why? What was the point of that?
Sometimes they do that ironically for like 5 minutes for a bit part, and then go, oh, but this story actually has nothing to do with this person. Sure, okay, that's funny, but no.
I mean, I've seen it before where it's like, you know, the kid, usually it's a kid. In this instance, from what I remember, it's like the kid was like, you know, left his house, went off and did some shit. Then he gets to a part where the sky opens up. And now that they've established the world and how these characters typically live, then a fucking airship flies over. And the kid's like, oh, whoa! And then the camera starts following the airship, and then it like zooms inside of the airship, and then there's our main cast, actually. And then we follow them for the rest of the story. I mean, that's just how I remember something opening up before. And I was like, oh, that's kind of cool, where it like introduces us to the world, because the world's a little bit different than your average trope. So they wanted to introduce the world first, and then now we're focusing on the main cast now that we know the world, and we don't have to do this whole song and dance where the main cast has to answer all the questions about the world without, you know, seeming like they don't know anything about the world they've been living in. Her backstory is poorly executed, but if you lose interest because you realize that she is no longer in the harem, then, and not because you found the stories of her and Sigurd badly done, then this tirade is for you. But I doubt you will. I doubt you're going to listen to someone who spent hours thinking about this, about a concept that's never been explored before, because there isn't a harem. I suppose that's what I get for writing a fic that's inspired by a question I didn't have an answer to. No, it's what you get for writing a fic inspired by a question you didn't have an answer to, and then tossing all of that out because you fell in love with how you wrote Loki.
But the question was supposed to be fucking rhetorical.
That too. After all these years, I have finally realized why my favorite authors quit fanfiction.net. Honestly, I'm grateful to Space Battles. You guys don't read this story with one hand in your dick. Space Battles never jacks off to a story.
That sounds like he's taking a shot at QQ there.
No, he's taking a shot at fanfiction.net.
Or that.
I know I've misled everyone and I couldn't deliver on my initial vision, but stories evolve and people grow. And if you really couldn't tell that a harem was unachievable, then I'm here to tell you explicitly that the values that guide this story are now different. And if you cannot get used to the idea of a harem story no longer having a harem in it, you should leave.
Moron.
Yes. Yep.
An ego tripping moron.
Oh yeah.
Like, Jesus Christ, like this guy he sounds like he knows he got popular. Instead of like it being too much for him, like that one author, he doubled down and he's like he got drunk off of it. And now it's just like, Jesus Christ, dude, take a chill pill, get some help.
He's up his own ass.
So anyway, finally. Are you done stroking your own dick? You rant at people who, in your own words, don't care and aren't mature enough to. You also ranted at everyone who isn't them. People who are mature enough, people who stayed for the story even when it strayed from what they came for. I get that people are stupid, but you're on the fucking internet, where whiny retards are the loudest group. This is one of those scenarios where you write it out and get it off your chest and then never post it. Congratulations, you are now the whiny retard. Am I disappointed the story didn't go the route it promised? Maybe. Did I stroke my dick to this story? No. That's pathetic. Who the fuck jacks off to fanfiction? I stand by
Half
that
my
statement.
viewership.
Yeah, I'm aware. I stand by that statement, though. Did I enjoy the new direction the story took? I wanted to see action. Wit. I got none of that. Am I actually more likely to drop this story over the whiny piss fit you just threw than over everything else you've written so far? Hell yes. Lamau. Have fun spurking out to retards on an anonymous platform. Bye.
I'd like to report a murder.
So, let's see here. Private messages. Oh no, I am doxing myself. Oh well. Let's see. 2020. We're looking for 2020.
That's probably gonna be a couple pages then.
No, it's actually right here.
Oh. How about that?
A lot of people don't really respond to me. That's weird.
It should be right in between
should be
May
right
and
there.
October.
What the fuck?
Did he block you maybe?
Does blocking someone
No,
delete
it
the
should.
combo?
No, it shouldn't. It shouldn't. No, it doesn't.
I thought it did, because you couldn't reply to some authors before.
Yeah, no, it doesn't. It's still there. That conversation's still there. Oh, you know what? I might have blocked them. That would have gotten rid of the conversation.
Would it though?
Because I
Well, you could
remember
conver-
arguing with them in the DMs because they were just so obstinate about it. Like, no, I can't start a new story. No, I can't change the title. It's like, yes, you can. Yes, you can. It's like, no, I won't change the summary. It's like, we got into this massive fucking argument where I was literally, I was the meme, okay? I was the guy giving him the folder of solutions, and he was like, no, I don't want solutions. I want to complain about people being mean to me.
Yep, sounds right.
And so I think at that point I was just like, fuck you, and blocked him. I block people so rarely. It says something that 3 people are now blocked on Sign server. This is just like the Taylor Varga author, but it's explosive exit rather than a slow fizzle. True. Yep. Yep. So I do want to talk about this. Oh boy. Katsuki times female OC.
Oh, author likes abusive relationships.
Yeah, but she can fix him.
Of course she can fix him.
Which is worse, that story or Varga? Varga? The story we just covered, the harem story that wasn't a harem, aside from, you know, losing the plot massively, the story was still good. You know, when the characters were being witty, they were pretty good at being witty. You know, when the characters actually had some action going, he was pretty decent at showing off the action. When, you know, he had the right characters truer to form based on their lore, he did a decent job at it. His spelling and grammar were pretty solid. It's just, he just lost the plot massively and then threw a piss fit when people pointed it out to him.
Yeah, like as I said earlier, he was introducing his own original lore for the story with the whole they made their own version of Campiones in the ancient past, which was fair game because it was a one-sided thing. Like, oh, okay, so they had something, and you can kind of like, okay, I can nod my head at this.
Yeah, exactly.
This was happening in the old days, and it was a forbidden thing for a good reason. This makes sense, and that's fine. He was actually, I'd actually say that was probably some of the more interesting creative ways, like the whole similar but different things for the sake of the idea.
Yeah.
That was fine. But as he went on, as Sneaky said, I think at one point it started getting more and more noticeable. He kept focusing a lot more on Loki, more so than he should have. But that's just me.
It was a harem comedy story, and the harem obviously was lost, but he also forgot to do the comedy.
Yeah, that's fair.
Like, it just started. It went from being a harem comedy to just being a slice of life romance, and it was kind of just like, all right, but I was here for the comedy. Now make me laugh, monkey. Yeah. Let's see what here. So as I was saying, I Don't Run an Orphanage is a story that I've actually read. My Hero Academia. Where Izuku is quirkless, gets caught up in a government scheme to offload a shit ton of kids who have very dangerous quirks so he can take care of them all because he can't say no. Kind of a cool idea. Another story that massively lost the plot. Because every other chapter was him just including another quirk that's blatantly ripping off something from another property. And it's just like, it's a kid now, and he's going to take care of them, and then it's like a chapter of them taking care of the kid, and the kid, and at the end of the chapter was like, oh my god, you're like the best person ever, you're like the bestest. And then a new kid gets introduced, and fucking rinse and repeat, and it's kind of just like, alright, well. And the main cast became like 40 fucking people. So obviously it's 700,000 words now. Because, you know, they can just infinitely add more characters, so people just keep reading and favoriting and following. Yeah, here's a dumb story. Does gender matter? It's the first year of UA, and Bakugo cheats on Izuku. And Kirishima helps Izuku with the breakup, and they discover that their soulmates have changed to be each other.
I'm sorry, what?
Yeah.
What disgusting shit did you just read?
Yep.
Not only is it stupid already, that's stupid beyond the fact that it breaks the whole point of the
Forced
soulmate
gay
shit.
relationship because they are now soulmates. Yep. Izuku Midoriya used to be a villain who used to kill for sport, laughing as he murdered the shit out of people. Haunted by his past, he meets sexy bunny girl, Eri, and Class 3, and the Elite Four. Can former villain have chance to become hero that Eri could be proud of? Izuku sticks his dick in all the hot women.
Ah, yes, Izuku, bloodthirsty murderer. I remember him fondly in the story.
Yes, Izuku, who
Yeah.
everyone knows, Izuku times Mina. The feet-worshipping saga. This is a series of romantic foot fetish stories surrounding Izuku times Mina. Yep. Oh, hey, look. It's another crossover that's not in the crossover section. Izuku was quirkless, but he exercised really hard. And then one day, someone showed up and gave him the Sage of Six Paths chakra.
Fuck off.
And they told him they believed he would surpass Naruto Uzumaki. Yup. Okay.
Jesus Christ, this is just so stupid. Like, this reminds me of an idea someone was talking about on another server I'm on. Like, nothing offensive or too stupid. Like, do you all know Chivalry of Failed Knight?
No.
Okay, so but basically he wanted to do a Ruby fic, but Jean someone found an old journal of some warrior based on the character of that series, and he wanted John to kind of just use that notebook to get strong before canon. That's basically it. And outside name referencing the characters, it's just a Ruby fic.
All right.
There's
fine,
no
yeah.
supernatural powers, nothing from that series other than like he's keeping the names from them, which is minor. So that's
Yeah, that's really doesn't matter. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's like that's fine. I'm like, okay, but this is kind of just like taking that to an extreme degree. It's like, what the fuck?
Not even
dude?
extreme degree. It's just literally a crossover.
Yeah, well, yeah, you know what I mean. But yes, it's just so stupid. It's like you're gonna do something like that, or at least even if you're trying to do something like involving some aspect of Naruto, don't go full head go on that and just make it a crossover or whatever. Ugh.
I mean, it's just like Izuku discovers his quirkish chakra it's just dumb. It's just really dumb. I mean, now that being said, I would like to see a Charles Atlas Izuku.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, it's just that's it. I just want to see a Charles Atlas Izuku. Because I just think that would be funny. And it's why I like Metal Bat. Where it was for a long time a Charles Atlas Izuku. I have to wait, obviously for him to write the newer chapters out because he just started introducing some, supernatural paranormal shit, and I'm kind of like on the fence about it. Because it's like trying to explain why Izuku is like this fucking god whenever he's holding a bat, but then becomes weak normally without it. And then, oh, well, actually, he actually does have a quirk, and then he doesn't know he has a quirk, but he thinks he doesn't, and it's just getting this really complicated tangle mess, and like that's the danger when it comes to a comedy story that's based off of misinterpretations and misunderstandings, is you get too deep in the sauce. But yeah, we'll see. I just want a Charles Atlas Izuku. How did you get this far? Well, I ran 100 miles a day, did 10,000 push-ups, ate 72 eggs.
He did the Saitama workout.
No, but like an actual workout, not Saitama warm-up. Now I'm God workout. I mean like an actual like Charles Atlas, like, oh yeah, as a kid, when I was 5, I found out I was quirkless. Yeah, I started doing like 5-pound weights. Yeah, I know what you said. I'm saying you're wrong.
Oh, my shit cut out.
Yeah, okay, yeah. No, I said not the Saitama workout. I mean like a genuine workout, but Charles Atlas. So it's like, yeah, he starts at 5-pound weights as a child, but then when he's like becomes a teenager, he can start doing heavier weights and going on more ridiculous things. By the time he's like 14, he's like fucking dumbbelling like 320 pounds in each hand, and like just completely does not recognize the ridiculousness of that because he's been just slowly upgrading the weight as time passes. And he's like, oh yeah, no, he can actually fucking jump over buildings now. Oh, because he's been doing jumping exercises for like the past 10 years. And he started at like 2 feet, and, and now he's at 60. And, just like he gets genuinely ridiculous because he just does genuinely ridiculous workouts that built up from completely normal workouts over time, with him just going harder and harder on them with each time like he got to a plateau.
Well, he doesn't need that shit. The entire thing with Charles Atlas is that he discovered resistance training, forcing muscle against muscle, like when a lion stretches. Basically, he asked himself why they do that. He tried it, and he just that it actually worked.
Yes, I'm aware that's the real thing around it. I was talking more about the stereotype trope where the character does seemingly completely normal things, and now they're like,
and then just builds up from there.
Yeah. Anyway, gentlemen, it is 9:30, which means it is time to leave. See you on Friday. Because there's always more, and it always gets worse.